Helldivers 2 is a brand new co-op third-person shooter which is currently taking the internet by storm. On a surface level, the world of Helldivers is very comparable to, say, the Starship Troopers franchise. We have a satirical take on a fascist future Earth society fighting an overwhelming amount of massive alien bug-like creatures. Nothing new to the sci-fi genre, but what Helldivers does and is planning on expanding into is really interesting. Maybe you're like me and skipped the first game for whatever reason and want a bit of an idea of what you can expect from the story in Helldivers 2. A story which is often hidden behind lots of shooting. And also humor, by the way. I love the humor of this game. From the intro cutscene in Super Earth to the ship names, for example. Who doesn't want to fly a Titan called the SES Octagon of Family Values? Anyway, if you're not super into the lore, luckily the game itself isn't really reliant on knowing the story to enjoy blasting bugs, throwing bombs down bug holes, and it seems like the first game won't have a massive impact on how things develop, but the story itself, rather, is going to expand as the game's world persists. Every mission in the expansive universe featured in Helldivers 2 has some impact on the ongoing story, but we'll cover that after getting the basics. Towards the end of the 21st century, the governments of Earth have combined under a new form of managed democracy, with the planet being renamed Super Earth. Managed democracy is essentially a fixed system with the pretense of giving citizens a choice in their government, though the political leaders are very obviously in control of everything. For example, the in-game encyclopedia says, utilizing computer-aided voting software, citizens are asked to answer several questions, and the outcome of their vote is decided upon by the computer. This removes the uncertainty that existed in old systems where voters didn't understand fully what they were voting for, giving us managed democracy. The political structure of Super Earth is obviously authoritarian in all but name, as demonstrated by the brutal offenses one might face for questioning or directly disobeying the nation with excessive jailing or, in some cases, termination. The citizens of Super Earth are mostly complacent or entirely ignorant to the ruling class of the planet due to their control of information and a steady stream of pro-government propaganda. Much of the propaganda distributed on Super Earth heavily encourages the population to join the military, going so far as to hand out complimentary rifles to everyone on their 16th birthday. Among the military, the most loyal and skilled citizens can enlist to become members of the Helldivers. The Helldivers were initially formed as a peacekeeping measure to ensure nations under Super Earth remained part of the Federation, and now are mostly killing bugs. One nation known as Northman's Creek attempted to secede from Super Earth, who painted the nation as an oppressive socialist regime. In an attempt to regain control, the Federation of Super Earth had to use a new strategy in order to get their troops on the ground. Northman's Creek offered little possibilities in terms of air support, leading to the utilization of the ODST-style Hell Pods, tubes that are capable of atmospheric drops and absorbing the shock of landing at an extraordinary velocity while protecting the rider, known as the Helldiver. We see in the game that similar systems are also used to launch ordnance, equipment, whatever. Anyway, the Federation dispatched 50 Helldivers to Northman's Creek and ended the attempted secession by executing those attempting to liberate the nation from Super Earth. With an overabundance of people and diminishing resources, the Federation began to expand its reach into the stars by 2084, making use of the Alcubierre drive, which was developed in the 2030s to allow for ships to achieve faster than light travel. This works closer to the use of the warp drive from Star Trek, where space is being moved around the object at speeds faster than light rather than the object being propelled through space. Super Earth then came into contact with several extraterrestrial societies with peaceful beginnings, which, shocker, quickly turned hostile. It's like the civilization had the xenophobe trait from Stellaris. There are three main factions of hostiles that Super Earth is constantly at war with throughout the first Helldivers game. There's the bugs, massive insect-like creatures that come from the eastern end of the galaxy, the Illuminate, a very intelligent blue-skinned species that hail from the southern end of the galaxy, and lastly the cyborgs, humans that were genetically modified and later seceded from Super Earth to the western end of the galaxy. Super Earth's interaction with the larger galactic community started an unending cycle of war. Whenever conflict with one faction ended, a new one with another began. Those who have read 1984, or at least watched my video, know the benefit of this. The Illuminate, who are actually called the Sequith, are part of an incredibly sophisticated society that originated as aquatic life forms. They encountered humanity early into Super Earth's journey through the stars, and as we established, made at least temporarily peaceful contact. Super Earth then attacked the faction after discovering that they had weapons capable of destroying the planet, using this as a justification to go to war and attempt to steal some very advanced technology. The bugs, on the other hand, were seen as a blight on the galaxy, a species of extremely dangerous dangerous and intimidating creatures with unknown methods of travel between the stars. They can survive in nearly any condition, but are thought to originate from the desert planet Kepler Prime. Super Earth views the bugs as a plague which exists purely to destroy, though the bugs are never fully eradicated due to their decomposing corpses producing large amounts of oil, making them both dangerous but also an extremely valuable resource. The final faction, the cyborgs, have been labeled as terrorists that are involved in a number of large-scale attacks against humanity. The Super Earth propaganda refers to the cyborgs as socialists, though it's probable that they've just seen through the false democracy of Super Earth and have somewhat different politics. The cyborgs actively attempt to recruit humans to their ranks and attempt to enlighten the citizens of Super Earth about the lies the higher-ups are feeding them, and to lead humans out of the endless cycle of war across the galaxy which strips away their freedoms. The campaign of the original Helldivers goes through the struggle between Super Earth and the various enemy factions they have made, with the overall story happening on a larger scale. The player base and their successes against these various factions, with Super Earth inevitably coming out on top. This brings us to Helldivers 2. 100 years have passed since the original Helldivers have been called into action, and Super Earth has colonized the galaxy. The bugs, now called Terminids, of course, very sci-fi bug name, have been population controlled and farmed for their oil the corpses produce. They escape, however, and start spreading across the galaxy. At the same time, a new faction called the Automatons begins their attack on Super Earth, leading the Helldivers to be called back into action. And that's the whole story for the game, at least for now. However, as we mentioned, as the game continues its war against these factions, the battles fought by players are supposed to have an impact on the story, with the game happening in real time, with each season and update offering information on how and why the story and game will change from here on out. I think that offers a lot of really cool storytelling opportunities, and I'm excited to see how that works. What kind of new bugs or enemies we'll have to nuke or blast from orbit. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the story of Helldivers so far. If you guys like this, I'd definitely be happy to take a closer look at certain lore elements within the game, and I've got to give a massive shout out to Zach, who pretty much wrote this whole script. He's the Helldivers guy right now, and if you want more content on the game aside from the lore, we probably will be putting a tips video out on the gaming channel X2, and I think we will do a bit more streaming later on. But guys, that's all for now. Let me know your thoughts if you played the original Helldiver, if you played the new game, and I'll see you guys soon. May the Force be with you. Bye-bye.